By 700 AD, Mesopotamia had been part of an empire created by the Persian Sassanid dynasty for 4 centuries. The land of the 2 rivers was situated in the middle of the Sassanids' vast territory, which extended from India and Turkey to Iran, Syria, and the Red Sea. However, in 634 AD, the Sassanids' dominance in the area was challenged by an Arab army. The Arabs followed the religion of Islam and believed as Muslims that opposition to Sassanid rule was a service to God.
The word that's used for service is the word jihad. Jihad is normally translated in today's discourse as holy war. In fact, it means effort. So any effort that you expend to spread Islam in the world, to make yourself a better Muslim, to improve the situation of Muslims is considered to be jihad, is considered to be effort in God's path.
The word Islam means submission. Muslims must submit to the will of Allah, the one omnipotent God. According to Islamic belief, the Prophet Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. Muhammad was born around 570 AD. A poor merchant from the city of Mecca, he grew disillusioned with the unprincipled business practices of the time and was increasingly drawn to a life of contemplation.
The rise of commercialism had brought about a neglect of the poor and the orphaned, as he called them. And he began to retire into caves that surrounded Mecca. And there, in the year 612, he had heard voices. He became convinced that this was the voice of the Archangel Gabriel, who was informing him that God has chosen him to be a messenger.
By the time Muhammad died in 632, he had inaugurated a great religious movement and an awe-inspiring army fueled by belief, which would carry Islam far beyond the deserts of Arabia. In 636 AD, the Arabs crossed the Euphrates and engaged the Persian army at Al-Qadisiyah, a village south of the hamlet of Baghdad. Under the leadership of their most brilliant commander, Rustum, the Sassanids had mobilized a huge force of 120,000 men. With an army of only 4,000 men, the Arabs were outnumbered 30 to 1. But the belief that Allah was with them gave them ferocious courage. The Arab leader, Sa'd ibn Abi Waqqas, shouted, "Allahu Akbar, God is most great," 4 times, and ordered his troops into the attack. They fought with great bravery, but they were no match for the Sassanid army's elephant corps that caused havoc in the Arab ranks.
Didn't know how to deal with it. It was just riding all over everybody. And eventually they found out a way of tackling the elephant, and that is to attack it at its trunk. And a war cry went through the camp, "Strike the elephant at the trunk, strike the elephant at the trunk." And they began to do that. That's really what made the battle.
By the end of the 4th day of bloody fighting, 30,000 men of both sides lay dead. Rustum's regal canopy was blown away by a storm. He was recognized and slain as he tried to escape. Confused and in panic, the Sassanid troops broke ranks and fled. The Arab underdogs were victorious, and the Battle of Al-Qadisiyah, one of the most significant in history, sealed the fate of the Persian Sassanid dynasty. Its empire was doomed.
the backbone of the Persian Empire was broken. Its main army was defeated in that battle. And it opened up areas for Arab Islamic conquest.
Following the death of Muhammad, a disagreement over how Islamic leaders should be chosen developed between the religion's first ruling dynasty, the Umayyads, and a minority Muslim faction living in southern Iraq. A wealthy clan derived from hardy desert nomads, the Umayyads, moved the capital of Islam from Medina in Arabia to Damascus in 661, and afterwards used Syrian forces to extend the burgeoning Arab empire. The Umayyads would become the Sunni wing of Islam, whose leaders, or caliphs, were initially selected by elders of the community. However, the devoutly religious group in Iraq, known as Shiite Muslims, did not recognize the authority of the caliphate. Instead, they accepted only the descendants of Muhammad's cousin and son-in-law, Ali, as the legitimate leaders of the faith.
They came to argue that Ali and his descendants were divinely inspired and chosen by God to be the leaders of the Muslim community. These divinely inspired individuals, they refer to as imams.
Over the next 20 years, the followers of Ali, known as Shiite Ali, fought the Umayyad caliphs for control of the empire and the doctrines of Islam. Though unsuccessful, the Shia would remain a powerful force in Iraq and a minority in many Muslim communities. It was another dynasty of Sunni Muslims that finally overthrew the Umayyads in 750 AD. The Abbasids claimed descendancy from Muhammad's uncle, and like the Shia, believed the spirit of Islam had been betrayed by the Umayyads. In 761, the Abbasids, under their leader Abul Abbas, murdered the entire ruling family and chose an Iraqi settlement as the new heart of the Muslim world. The village would become the city of Baghdad.
It was easy to reach it by caravan, and it was situated on the west bank of the Tigris, just to the east of the Euphrates, which means it was almost surrounded by water and thus more easily defensible.
A workforce of 100,000 men transformed Baghdad into a bustling metropolis in just 4 years. By the end of the 8th century, Baghdad was one of the wealthiest, most opulent, most cultured and learned cities in the world at that time, and also the center of a cosmopolitan empire. Science, medicine, and classical scholarship were revived, and Arab explorers ventured as far as Canton and Japan. They understood astronomy and knew the world was round.